Howdy peeps and welcome back to the 2HL podcast. I'm joined once again by the ever exuberant and always outspoken Ginger Winger himself, Mr. Stephen DeMiller.
Alright.
There you see, I told you. Today we are doing the top 6 80s action films. Now, I'm pretty sure this will get some people shouting at us because of our choices, Stephen, but...
Probably. I mean...
Yeah, no, go for it. That's what the internet's about. Nerds shouting at each other.
You can't complain with at least two of mine.
Oh, you can complain with at least one of mine. But anyway, so we've got between us 3 80s films we picked out. I've got 3, you got 3. Why don't you fire us in on your first choice there?
I just want to go off by saying I was disallowed my first 2 choices by committee of 1 because they were too sci-fi. So,
exactly, yes, it's a different subject. Action and sci-fi. You can have sci-fi action.
So we're going for pretty much pure actions rather than a hybrid, because obviously I would have picked Aliens or RoboCop.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's fine. I would understand that, but this is not the subject.
No, so my first one is probably the most 80s action movie that's every 80s actioned ever. And that is Commando, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes, that has to be one of the ultimate 80s action films.
I mean, that's it's just cheesy 80s action.
Didn't it have like the most body count in a 80s action film ever or something?
109 by my research.
Really?
102 of which Arnie killed.
Good lad.
I also want to go by saying I've come up with 10 action movie tropes.
Yes, you sent me an email, Stephen.
Yes. And I'm going to eat for each action movie we pick, we're going to reel off the 10. So for Commando, I'll go through this and the tropes at the same time. So
yep, go for it, mate.
So number 1 is synth music. Because it's the 80s and everybody had a synthesizer, apparently.
Pretty sure I've got one somewhere.
Maybe electric drum set, but that was pretty much it.
That was more of TV than film, wasn't it? The electric drum set?
Yeah, that was more Miami Vice than that, I suppose.
Yeah, and Airwolf and things. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah, so there's a shitload of this in Commando.
Yeah.
The only instruments ever used in the entire soundtrack is a synthesizer. So that's a tick. For number 1,
big tick for number 1 there. It's definitely got 80 synth.
Is the hero has some sort of stupid name.
What do you mean? What's wrong with his name, Stephen?
His name is John Matrix. That's what's wrong with his name.
What's wrong with John Matrix?
John Matrix.
It's an awesome
Seriously.
name. They changed names in the 90s.
The giant tick to that one as well. Number 3 is the hero always has to be American.
Yes, because Arnold Schwarzenegger is 100% American.
Exactly. I mean, in Commando, he's American, even though he's quite blatantly Austrian.
He must be American. He was a senator or something in California. Governor, that's him. Excuse me, 1 second. I'm just doing something a bit strange with my chair.
But I'm confused as to, do Americans allow foreign people into their army?
If they're allowed to run a state, I'm pretty sure you're allowed in the army.
Because we don't. I'm pretty sure we have to be a British Commonwealth.
Yeah, but the Commonwealth is massive, so that includes a lot of countries.
Yeah,
it's like 120 different countries, but yeah.
Number 3, hero's American, even though he isn't.
Yeah,
tick. Number 4, hero fights off hundreds of stuntmen.
Possibly.
And this one is definitely a tick. I was alluding to the body count of 102 that he had previous. So, yes.
They might not all be stuntmen.
Yeah, they definitely were. Oh. Literally over 100. So, therefore, big tick for this one.
But some of them might have been the same one twice.
Probably, but, I mean, whatever. Number 5. It has to include some terrible acting.
Arnold Schwarzenegger should be an Oscar winner. What's wrong with you?
I mean,
that Australian dude.
It's not really him. It's the baddie who's wearing some sort of weird knitted vest. That's the one.
Yeah, I remember that. Like chain link mesh or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, he's literally the worst actor I've ever seen act ever.
Wasn't he Australian?
What? Yeah,
Wasn't
he
he
was.
Australian?
His name was Vernon Wells.
Ah, that's him, yes.
He was Australian, but his accent goes from British to South African to New Zealand to Australian and back again. Even though he was in Mad Max 2 and Weird Science. So he's accomplished 80s actor.
I don't remember that. Okay, fair enough.
I mean, in Mad Max 2, he did a character. In Weird Science, he was one of those biker dudes that wrecked the party at the end.
Oh, okay.
so he kind of fell off pretty quick.
Yeah,
he did Mad Max 2, he did this, and then nothing. Anyway, onwards and upwards to the obvious use of, or overuse of stunt doubles instead of the main actor.
Did Arnie not do all his own stunts then?
Apparently, in this one, Arnie did a good chunk of stunts. So they say. Or so IMDb says. But when I watched it back, there's so many obvious. I mean, there's one where him and the air hostess are in her little car. Sports car, and they go across 2 lanes into a parking structure, and one other car has to put his brakes on because they cut him up. Stunt doubles. Obvious stunt doubles. Bloke in a wig, and some Arnie bloke in a wig.
Some muscly dude in a wig.
Yeah, there's one where he climbs up onto a 2-foot wall. Stunt double. I'm like, if you do most of your stunts, climbing up onto a wall, I don't see that as being so much as
you know what insurance costs are like these days? I mean, it costs a blinking fortune just to be able to drive on the roads in Britain. Imagine what it'd be like to climb up a wall when you're worth millions and millions of dollars. I mean...
Anyway, so, yeah, IMDb and me disagree on this one. So I'm going to go with a little tick on that one.
Little tick. Okay, fair enough.
Number 7 has to have Cold War vibes.
Australian Cold War?
This one is America versus a small South American country that's trying to rebel against a democracy that Arnie put in previous. So
nothing like forced democracy. You will do as you're told on your
life. When Arnie was John Matrix, was in the special forces or whatever, he went into a country and forced a democracy onto a country.
What special forces was he in?
The special forces. And then the rebels who are trying to rebel against this forced democracy are obviously the baddies in this.
Of course they are.
And obviously, if they're rebelling against a democracy in the 80s, they can only be communist. It doesn't specifically say, but I'm going to go with communist or dictatorship. Either way.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fair enough.
Either way, it's got some Cold War vibes. Not strong ones, but some. Number 8, cheesy one-liners. It's an Arnie film. He says, I've got 3 here. He says, I'll be back at one point.
Of course he does. It's the 80s.
He kills a guy with a pipe and steam comes out of it, and he says, let off some steam. And he drops a guy over the cliff, and the woman goes, where is he? He said, I let him go.
Classics. All classics. What's wrong with you, Stephen?
Yes. So there's that. And number 9, the hero has low-key superpowers.
Well, yeah, he's invincible. He cannot die. He's in God mode.
Infinite ammo.
Yeah, that's true. I always forget about that in the 80s.
And he's in a house, his garden, with an RPK, which has got what, max? It's got a mag. It's not got a belt fed. So
yeah, it's like 30, I think.
30 or 50, possibly. Okay, he kills about 70 dudes with it by putting 20 bullets into each dude. So,
that's the Arnie double tap, isn't it? Why put 2 bullets in when you can put 20?
And phone booths and just...
To be fair, Arnold Schwarzenegger in the 80s probably could have picked up a car. To be fair.
So, I mean, he does some crazy strength things. So I'm going to give him super strength as well. And he gets shot a bunch. And at the end, he just walks it off.
Yeah,
so
bullets,
I'm
isn't it?
Give him regeneration.
Bullets don't hurt you. Everything in the 80s was invincible.
It did hurt him for a minute, and then it didn't. So regeneration is with.
Just good medikit. It's fine.
And finally, number 10, there is a known actor and the rest are complete random.
Now, I'm presuming you're classing Arnie as the known actor.
Yes. I mean,
Right.
technically, there's that Vernon Wells bloke who was in Mad Max 2 and then didn't do anything else after that, really. And his daughter is Alyssa Minaro, who would find fame in Charmed much later on. Therefore, she was an unknown at the time.
Yeah, wasn't she on, like, 80s, like...
She's on some shitty TV show that someone likes. But
yeah, something 80s.
So, yeah, no. So, I say it ticks quite a lot of my the trope boxes.
I always remember the one where he kills the guy with the saw blade.
Yes, chopped off his
That
quarter.
was hilarious, yes. And does,
yeah, so it was released in 1986, so it kind of has to be an 80s.
Yeah, that's pretty much middle, almost.
It was directed by Mark L. Lester.
Oh,
who went on he went on to do... Well, nothing else. He did a bunch of shitter action films that are on IMDb with nobody in them. So
just camera and action.
Yeah. Had a budget of 10 million in 1986.
That's not bad for 86, yeah.
And made 57.5 million.
Well, there you go then. You've 5 times your money on it. It's perfect.
Yeah. It was written by a bloke called Stephen D'Souza, who also wrote... He basically wrote the 80s. He wrote Running Man, 48 Hours 1 and 2, Die Hard 1 and 2, and Hudson Hawk.
He just went off a cliff at the end, didn't he?
Yeah.
All the excellent films, and then Hudson Hawk.
He must have made a bob or two in the 80s.
Well, if he wrote them, yeah, he would have made no end of money out of them. So
Commando gets a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes and a 6.7 on IMDb.
That's higher than I thought. That's higher than I thought it would be because it's obviously cheese.
Yes, it's full on cheese, and I assume a good chunk of the IMDb stuff is rose-tinted glasses.
Oh, of course it is. I mean,
Rotten Tomatoes takes some critics and that, doesn't it? So
yeah, that's true. So, out of 1 to 5 face punches, 80s face punches, what would you give Commando?
I'd give it 4 out of 5 as an cheesy 80s action.
4 out of 5.
It's literally the granddaddy of all cheesy 80s action films.
Although
I can't give it 5 because there are bits where I kind of tuned out because there's bits
because it's boring.
It's bits where some really bad actor or actress is trying to act with Arnie on their own and there's no action happening. So I'm just like
moving the plot along, and actually not doing that at all.
What?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So yeah,
4 out of 5 face punches. There you go then. Well, there you go. What do you think, folks? Leave a comment below if you agree with 4 out of 5 80s face punches for Commando. Now, my first choice is a little bit out there.
Okay.
And when I say a little bit out there, it's a long way out there because no one ever seems to realise this is an 80s action.
Okay, is it Love Actually, is it?
No, it's 80s. Pretty close. So. I've chosen Big Trouble in Little China.
I mean, yeah, it is.
Would that come to mind as an 80s action movie to you? Because I think it's a pretty damn good 80s action movie.
Well, it definitely is.
It's Kurt Russell. It's the 80s. It's fighting. It's the 80s.
It's 80s and it's got action in it. I mean, that's kind of the entire part of the 80s action thing.
There you go.
I don't think it's as cheesy as Commando. I think it's actually a better, more well done.
It's a far better storyline and it's far better script because there's actually a script to it. But it is kind of cheesy.
Yes.
For those who haven't seen it, it's basically Kurt Russell's a lorry driver. Sorry, American truck driver. Sorry, driving the Pork Chop Express, if I remember correctly. Who gets embroiled into like Chinese mythology, magic, and history, and myth, and demons, and all sorts of things, but does it with the usual American quip and style and face punchy and silly jokiness. It's quite an amusing film. If you've not seen it, I highly recommend you go and watch it. It's probably available everywhere for about £2.
Yeah, I was going to say £2.
That's nice, if so. Now, I had written out a script and everything before somebody emailed me a list of numbers that I had to remember. So I have now turned the page over on my script
I can reel off the tropes if you want, and you can just answer them.
No, I've actually got my open on my phone because you emailed them to me. Number one, loads of synth music. Oh yeah, of course it's synth music. It's the 80s. It's the 80s. It's got to have synth music in it, and it's got loads of synth music, which also seems to synth itself together with Chinese type music as well, which is quite impressive. I've never
amalgam.
An amalgam, yes. But there you go. Stupid name of the leading the hero. Number 2 is on your list. A stupid name. It's kind of it's Jack Burton is the character's name, so it might as well have been. It's not stupid, but it's like it's John Everyman is who it is. It's ridiculous.
So no, he hasn't got a stupid name.
No,
he's got a very sensible name. I mean,
Bert
if you went to Jack Burton Accountants, you wouldn't be surprised, would you?
I would be because Kurt Russell would
John Matrix.
Don't mess Matrix. Matrix is a good name. I like John Matrix. The next one, hero is American. Yes, he is. He's actually American.
The actor is American as well. Whew.
He's American. The actor's American. It's almost like.
I think a lot of people, when you're talking about 80s action movies, forget Kurt Russell.
I know, but he was in so many 80s. He was massive in the 80s.
I was going to pick one of his, and then until we watched it, and it was terrible. Escape from New York was the one.
Yes, of course. And the ever less popular Escape from LA that followed. Yes, it was 90s because he got older.
But I watched Escape from New York, and the first 20 minutes, nothing actually happened at all. I was just like, fuck about this.
Oh, Snake Plissken. I thought you were dead.
He's got a proper stupid name. Anyway, carry on.
Yeah, he would have won on that one, I think. Stuntmen.
Yes.
Yes, there's wave after wave of hundreds and thousands of Chinese stuntmen, especially in the street gang fight scene where there's like 5 different gangs all joining together and just fly everywhere, knives and swords. And yes, there is a crap ton of stuntmen in this film. Cheesy acting though, yeah.
Yes.
The next one on the list, cheesy acting. Would you say Kurt Russell is a cheesy actor?
It depends what he's in, to be honest. There's definite cheesy actor, as in Escape from New York, was a little terrible actor.
But to be fair, in this film, there is a bit of cheese.
Yeah, I mean, it's the 80s, and it's an action film. There's going to be a bit of cheese, but is it proper off the wall? Does it, when there's no action happening, does it make you go, ugh?
No, it's more of a comedy that way between the action. So, no, cheese then, niet on the cheese.
Yeah, maybe like a Kraft cheese slice.
Yeah, that'll do, yeah. It looks like cheese, smells like cheese, but it's not real cheese. It's just orange fat.
Plastic.
Next one on your trope list, Stephen. The Cold War. Is it Cold War-y? No, not at all. Absolutely nothing whatsoever to do with any of the wars apart from like a 2,000-year-old Chinese war between clans.
You can go, it's America versus China, and China was communist at the time, therefore. But that's you're pulling. You're reaching there.
I was just reaching off screen for that, and now I missed it because that's ridiculous. Nothing I've ever mentioned about wars or anything like that at all. Nothing. Nope. So I said no on that one. Cheesy one-liners. Next one on the list. There's a few. It's not like Arnie levels of cheesy one-liners, for God's sakes. There is a couple, but there's no quotable lines really from this film.
Yeah.
So no, it started to sound more and more like not an 80s action film.
Yeah, it started to sound like a 90s action film that was made in the 80s by accident.
Well, yeah, I know. I mean, who could know? Superpowers, however. Yes, he does have superpowers.
Yes.
I refer you to, if you're going to watch it, the knife catching scene at the end. When he... Spoilers, obviously, remember the spoilers bit at the beginning of the video. Spoilers, he catches a knife mid-flight and throws it back at the bad guy. And, I mean, yeah, no chance. Yes. Chop some fingers off trying to catch it, yeah, that would happen. Catching a knife that's flying through the air, turn it around, throwing it back at someone, no. So, yes, he has got superpowers.
Yes, he has.
Uber reactions, and for some reason, he can drive a truck through buildings without it breaking the truck. So, Transformer.
It's not. He's not driving Optimus Prime, is he?
Could be. It's not the same colour scheme, but it could be Optimus in disguise. You don't know.
And then the last one.
The last one on your list is only one well-known actor. No, there's a crap ton of well-known actors in this film. Granted, at the time, they might not have been as well-known, but they are now. I mean, you got Kim Cattrall from Sex and the City and from Porky's and all sorts like that.
I think she was pretty well-known back then, wasn't she, I think?
Yeah, I mean, she would have been sort of Porky's era.
Yeah, but I mean, she was just eye candy, wasn't she, back then, I think?
Well, if you want to call her that, yeah.
Just, yeah, you know what I mean? There's no...
Yeah, I mean, she was like the 80s version of a...
Cameron Diaz.
Yeah, that's perfect, yeah. Victor Wong's in it as well, who's a very well-known Chinese actor. You might know him from as the bloke who owns the shop in Tremors, who gets eaten because his fridge is noisy.
Wow.
He's done no end. He's done no end of bit parts in films, and he's been in lots of films. For some reason, I think he was like an 80s Chinese go-to actor. But yeah, so there you go. That's your list complete. It was produced in 1986 also.
Ooh, what a year.
So very 80s.
What a year.
Directed by somebody you might have heard of before, a little-known director called John Carpenter.
Oh,
May have heard of him.
He also did, but what's it called, didn't he? Our terrible Escape from New York.
Yes.
And The Thing.
He did The Thing.
He loves Kurt Russell so much.
He does. I think he had a little man crush on Kurt Russell, especially in the 80s. The bad guy, James Hong, in this was also a probably not so well known in the 80s, but in the 90s he did quite a lot of film and TV. So, yeah, he's done quite a few different films since then. The budget on this film, however, this is the 80s, $25 million.
Oof, that's pretty big.
That's a big budget, yeah. It made $11 million.
Oh, God. What a flop.
So, yeah, a little bit of a flop there. However, become a cool classic. So, you know, it's made money later on in its life. Written by Gary Goldman, who also wrote a little-known book/film called Total Recall, which could be on someone else's list.
It's like too sci-fi.
Yes,
for another thing.
So there you go. If you haven't seen it already and want to see it, which I suggest you do, go and watch Big Trouble in Little China. It's a good way to waste an hour and a half of your life.
Yeah, well, I suppose most of these are really.
Well, and
the actual thing, yeah.
Well, just excuse me because I keep sinking slowly because my chair's knackered. It keeps dropping me down slowly. Excuse the elevator shot.
Yeah,
but right. So what's your? Yes. What's your next film on the list?
My next one is probably the one that nobody could argue with, which is also the best Christmas movie of all time.
Oh, the best Christmas movie of all time.
Also written by Stephen D'Souza, who wrote Commando.
Oh, yes, that's true. Yes, you have backflash to that previous one.
So this one, obviously, Die Hard.
Yes, I could pretty much guess that from the Christmas theme.
Yes. Released in 1989, so only just scrapes in.
Squeaking into the 90s.
It scrapes in, but yes, it's obviously a classic and is on every Christmas.
If you hadn't picked it, it'd be on my list.
Yeah. So, synth music. I mean, there's a bit of it.
There's also Run DMC, I believe, as well.
So, yeah. I don't think this one's going to take many of the 80 cheesy action tropes because it's not really a cheesy action film. It's just a good action
really film. Pushing itself towards the 90s very quickly.
Yes. I mean, it was just good rather than a cheesy one. So, Hero's a Stupid Name. No, because it's John McClane. That's just a normal name.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all.
Yep. Hero is American. He is, and so is the actor.
Yes, and he had hair back then as well.
Kind of like
most of it. Yeah. I think you've probably got less than he had in the 80s. In the 90s, I agree with you. Yeah, but
the hero fights off hundreds of stuntmen. No, he fights about 10.
Yeah, there's not that many bad guys in there.
No.
There's some badass bad guys, but there's not many of them.
Terrible acting. Well, Yeah, the non-named actors are pretty terrible because they're all meant to be Germans, and even though none of them are actually German, so they're trying to speak German, but whatever they speak is not correct either. So any Germans who were watching it got totally confused,
I'm
and
not surprised. Did they have to put German subtitles?
they had to redub it for Germans with actual German.
That would make sense.
Only Alan Rickman speaks actual German. Everybody else is just talking bollocks.
The legend that what it is still the late great Alan Rickman. Yeah.
Indeed. So yeah, no terrible acting in that, apart from the randos who you don't really care about.
Yeah, exactly. It's the cannon fodders that are fine.
Cold War vibes. It's America versus Germany, but originally
they were allies.
Yeah, East Germany, West Germany, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yes, we are that.
When he was writing this, apparently they originally were going to be terrorists, East German terrorists, but he decided that terrorists were a bit too
done
touchy
to death.
So
touchy.
So he made them thieves instead,
which I think works better anyway.
Yes. So
got loads of films about terrorists, films about bank robbers.
So Cold War vibes, very minimalist. Cold War vibes.
Yes, definitely minimalistic.
Cheesy one-liners. There's the yippee-ki-yay.
Yeah. You have to beat that. Thank you, Steve.
You're welcome. And when he writes, "Now I have a machine gun, ho ho ho," on a dude, that's not really a one-liner, but still.
But it's writing, Stephen. So no.
So not really with the cheesy one-liners, apart from the yippee-ki-yay or the trucker.
Thank you for the BBC edit.
The hero's low-key superpowers. No, he gets beat up quite badly.
Yeah, his feet sliced up. Oh, always makes me cringe.
Right at the end, he's proper knackered.
Yes, so he's beaten to a pulp. So no superpowers, no.
One known actor and the rest are randoms. Yes, because this was Alan Rickman's first role in Hollywood.
Yeah, but he was known elsewhere.
No, he wasn't. He only did theatre before this.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Good old research, you see.
Ah, well done,
this was his first. This was his Hollywood big break, and
he chose
when he got typecast as a baddie.
Yeah.
Because he did it so goddamn well.
Yes, well, yeah, he did, yeah. I mean, I believe there was a quote of his that he was asked why he always played baddies, and he said he doesn't always play baddies, he always plays very interesting people.
Yes, it'll cut your heart out with a rusty spoon.
Yes, and cancel Christmas.
So yes, this was directed by John McTiernan.
Oh.
He did more 80s stuff. He did quite a lot of good stuff, actually. He did Predator, which, did Die Hard 3. So,
well, with a Vengeance.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's not too bad one.
He did The Last Action Hero. He did The Hunt for Red October.
Yeah, well, that's all right. Yeah.
And he did 13th Warrior.
Yeah.
That's what he's known for.
Right. Anyway. Okay. Fair enough. He's more good than bad then.
Now this was $28 million budget.
Ooh, we're getting to the 90s.
Even more than your previous one, but it made $141 million.
That's more like it, yeah.
So not so much of a flop. 93% on Rotten Tomatoes, 8.2 on IMDb.
I'm not surprised.
8.2 puts it level with Scarface.
Wow, really?
Yeah. So it's that caliber.
That's pretty impressive. That is pretty impressive.
Some more random trivia for this. I've got 2 bits more. Nakatomi Plaza.
Yes.
Was 20th Century Fox's headquarters when it was being built and renovated. So they actually charged themselves for the rent of it.
That sounds like a tax fiddle to me.
Yeah, exactly. And Bruce Willis got $5 million for this. $5 million in 1989.
Well, to be fair, he was a comedy actor before Die Hard. He did like moonlighting and things. I mean it's a risk to use.
I think Arnie got like $1 million maybe for Commando, maybe less than that.
Really?
$5 million for this.
Oh, fair play. Well, he's obviously a commodity back then, wasn't he? He was a.
I mean, he was Bruce Willis. He was in what's it called, Moonlighting, and what's that other one that's? He was in a bunch of 80s shit, wasn't he? This was the end of the 80s as well, so.
Yeah. I mean, he was a pretty well-known actor back then. He just wasn't known for beating the crap out of people.
No, but I mean, apparently. Oh, a random bit of trivia that I completely forgot for Commando, by the way.
Thanks for. I just realised I haven't done the IMDb scores for mine either, so carry on.
Apparently, originally they wanted Nick Nolte to play Arnie's role in Commando.
That would have been a very different film.
I was going to say he would just. That would be terrible. Terrible idea.
That would have been relegated to the fucking bargain bin in Blockbusters, wouldn't it? I mean, no one would have watched that.
So anyway, that was just I completely forgot that just came off the top of my head.
Thanks for that. Yeah. I'm going to write down my IMDb scores and put it on after I've done the video. Can't find my notes now. They're all over the place. Face punches, Stephen. How many face punches?
5 out of 5. Because it's Die Hard.
5 out of 5.
Of course, it's going to be 5 out of 5.
I've got to get a new seat before the next podcast. Definitely 5 out of 5. I'm not going to disagree with you that until it's Die Hard. It's like Die Hard.
It's literally the best.
It's not Christmas without watching it.
Exactly. So 5 out of 5. Probably that was 3. There we go. So probably the best one out of my list, I'd gotta say, of action films. I went, obviously, Commando was cheesy. Die Hard was the best one. Now, number 3, on the other hand, is somewhere in between. Well, we'll come to that in a bit, yes.
Well, we'll go to my second one, which is another 80s classic film. Everyone would have watched it, especially our generation. It's First Blood. Do I need to say more than that? It's Rambo First Blood.
Yes.
I mean, it was the introduction of John J. Rambo.
Indeed.
Obviously, if you haven't seen it, what rock have you been living underneath?
Yeah, where are you? What are you even listening to this podcast for? What are you doing in your life?
I'll go over the synopsis. He's a Vietnam War hero, ex-Green Beret, goes to visit his mate. His mates died after the war, survived the war and died. Sent him a bit sad, so he went on, here's another 80s catchphrase for you from a different film, Walkabout.
I mean, that's more of an Australian thing, but carry on.
Oh, yeah, true, yeah. Came across this small little sleepy town, decided he wanted to have a wander through it, have something to eat, have a pee and a poop. The usual things you do when you stop over and carry on. But a corrupt police force
bullied by the policemen.
The policemen arrest him. Well, they force him to be naughty, then arrest him, and then beat the living Jesus out of him. And he has flashbacks, goes back to Vietnam, thinks he's been tortured again in Vietnam, and just goes crazy at bonkers. Runs to the hills. They try to hunt him down. He's a specialist in counter warfare and
he's good in guerrilla warfare. Yes.
And then he hunts them instead. So it's one man versus everyone else.
A bunch of corrupt polices.
Go and watch it. You've got to watch it. If you've ever seen an 80s film, if you've ever seen a film, if you've like any genre whatsoever,
any other Rambo film, this is literally the best one.
This is nothing like the other Rambo films. This is actually
the first one is the best one because this one actually kind of delves into PTSD and stuff like that.
Exactly, yeah.
It's got a bit more deeper meaning than just
him,
a dude and a machine gun and biceps. And maybe a bow and arrow, depending on which one you've got.
Yeah, true. Right, let's go to your list of listiness. Number
synth
1,
music.
synth music. No, not one bit of synth music. It's all orchestral military music.
Fair enough.
I mean, I can't say anything like that. There might be possibly an electronic drum, but
there's probably a bit in there somewhere. But yeah, if it's not obvious, then it doesn't count.
No, it doesn't count. So
there you go. Has a stupid name.
Oh God, yes. Rambo John J.
Rambo.
Reporting for CT. Rambo John J. That's definitely an 80s movie
I mean, John,
name.
No, J, no, Rambo, definitely yes.
Well, it could be Homer J. Rambo. That'd be quite funny. But
Rambo,
stupid name,
Rambo.
definitely, yeah.
The hero's American.
Yes, in all counts, the actor and the character.
He's an American at that.
He's all American.
Mm-hmm.
So 80s movie trope tick.
Hero fights off hundreds of stuntmen.
Possibly, maybe, yes. Well, I'll put it this way: he single-handedly takes on an actual army, in which. Okay, it's the National Guard, but it's still classed as an army. He takes on an actual army and wins.
Yes, but does he fight them all?
Yes, he does. He also has an amazing scene when when we're all first introduced, being young and nerdy that I am, well, was back then, now just old, fat and nerdy, but first introduced us to the M60 belt-fed machine gun.
Yes. I mean, yes.
Which has been referenced.
Yes, one of those in Commando as well, he picks up, I think.
Yeah, it's been referenced in quite a lot of films, comedy references.
Action film if he got his bulging biceps and his M60 underneath it.
Exactly. He's got belts wrapped around his biceps. I mean,
yes.
Big tick.
Terrible acting.
Come on, it's Stallone, of course. It's terrible acting.
Yes.
The best acting he ever did was Rocky, and that's because he wrote it himself, so he wrote it for himself.
Creed, he's really good in Creed.
Yeah, that's true. He's had a bit more experience now, though, hasn't he?
Yes, I mean, he has to play Rocky, so, it's not like it's a big step up out of his comfort zone, is it?
No, exactly.
Let's be fair.
But, it's Stallone, so...
Overuse of obvious stunt doubles.
Yeah. What do you think? There's 200 armed military personnel.
No, obvious stunt doubles of him.
Oh, of him? Yeah, there's that as well. Because there's jumping off things and riding motorbikes.
You see a guy who's
with a wig.
less buff with a perm.
I'm pretty sure the person who rides off with a motorbike is actually a woman stunt double for him. But, stunt doubles galore. It's
Cold War vibes.
Amazingly, this is the only one of these films, Rambo, that's not Cold War orientated. This is Vietnam orientated.
Which was Cold War.
It was pretty warm for them. It was sweaty as hell. But no.
It's Cold War via a tangent.
Yeah, via tangent. If you watch
a proxy. It's a
2,
proxy
3,
Cold
4,
War.
5, 9, 24,
yeah, I mean,
and
he's not
65.
helping Afghanistan or whatever, is he?
Yeah, exactly. That's Cold War. I'll give that. This is Vietnam War.
Yes. So, cheesy one-liners.
Not that many. This is not a one-liner, quotable, quibble film.
This is more like a Die Hard than it is a Commando.
Exactly, yeah.
It's because it's got some actual substance to the plot and such.
Exactly, and it's not just throwing knives in people and saying to stick around.
Yes,
a la Arnie.
The hero has low-key superpowers.
He seems to be bulletproof. He jumped off a 500-foot cliff into a very small ditch ravine of water and survived. Jumped off a motorbike going about 80 and survived. Jumped onto the roof of a van, survived.
Yes, I'd say he's indestructible.
Yeah, blew up a building and survived, and took on an army and survived. So yes, I'm going indestructible.
Yes. The one known actor, the rest are randoms.
It's a difficult one, this. Arnie? Probably I'm on the wrong film now. Stallone was just becoming well known then. I mean, obviously Rocky was massive. This obviously came soon after Rocky. So, yeah, I'd say...
if it's after Rocky, then he would be well known. I can't remember off the top of my head anybody else in the film that I'd go...
There are some actors in there you do that to, but mainly because they became famous afterwards. Like the guy who takes his sunglasses off in CSI, he's in it.
Oh, so you can't even name his name. Therefore, he's not. Even now, you don't know.
Well, he's in it. There you go. You go. Oh yeah, him. There you go.
Yes. There is one well-known actor, and the rest are random.
And the chief of police as well is known for being in 80s films. Basically, he's a bit part actor, but he's done a lot of films. Brian Dennehy, that was his name. He's the actor. I can name him. You see, I got written down in front of me.
that makes it so much harder. So, trivias. Have you got any trivias about Rocky?
Well, I have got a few trivias.
He wrote it and did he direct it? Not Rocky, Rambo. Same difference, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Rocky with a gun.
Yes.
It came out. This has you beat. It came out in 1982.
Ooh,
so
quite an early
80s, yeah. Directed by Ted Kochev, who also was he was very famous for directing the other violent PTSD film Weekend at Bernie's.
Yeah, I can see the comparisons now.
You know, it's like exactly the same film. Budget for this, 15 million in 1982.
That's pretty big.
That's a big budget, yeah. It made 125 million.
Yeah, well, yeah. Of
course it did. I mean, yeah, anything with Stallone back then, it seems to cost 20p and make him billions of dollars. So
yes, he made a lot of money.
Written by David Morrell, who also wrote Rambo 2, Rambo 3, and Rambo 4.
I mean,
and I think he did some writing on Rambo 5.
Did he have a brain injury between 1 and 2? Is that what happened?
I don't know. It's completely different films. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, first one was a serious film. Second one was just helpful. I mean, he made money out of it, so he's not bothered. But yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, for mine, face punches on this one, I gotta go for 80s face punches. The proper 80s film. It's
proper good. I mean, there are bits of it that are a bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's not.
It's not Die Hard.
Perfect. It's not Die Hard, but
it's close. It's quite proper close.
It's a good 80s action film. Go watch it if you've not watched it. What are you doing with your life?
Exactly. Right. So my the third and final one.
The third and final time
is Rocky 4. Yeah, you thought I was going to go with just like a normal one, not Rocky 4. Because Rocky 4 is the best Rocky. And you can fight that out in the comments if you want to.
I might fight you in the comments on that one, but carry on.
So, yeah, this is Rocky.
For anyone who's not seen Rocky 4, who hasn't seen any of the other Rocky films or listened to anything we've been talking about Stallone for the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, Rocky is directed by Sylvester Stallone, starring Sylvester Stallone, and it's about a boxer who has a friendship with another boxer that he fought in 2 previous films, and then a Russian monster comes across and challenges Rocky to a fight. His mate says, I'll do it instead. I'll box the snot out of him. He then gets the snot beat out of him literally until he dies.
Yes.
And then Rocky has to get revenge.
Yes.
And goes to Russia and gets revenge.
Possibly one of the best 80s montages in a film.
I'll come to that in a bit. There's a great stat that I've got for that. Right. Synth music. Yes, literally all of it is synth music.
Yes, of course it is. It's just a bloke in a room. Yes.
With synth music over the top of it.
Everybody needs a montage.
His hero has a stupid name. His name is Rocky Balboa. Yes, of course he's got a stupid name.
Rocky Marciano, but anyway.
Rocky is not a normal name. I don't care what you say, it is not.
Is he American, Stephen? Is he American?
Yes, he's the most American who's ever American ever.
What, more American than Captain America?
Possibly, actually, yeah. Because Captain America wears a Costa Rican flag on him, so, yeah.
That's very true. Okay, so did he fight off hundreds of stunt doubles?
No, he doesn't fight off hundreds of stuntmen. He fights literally one dude.
Yeah, but he's a big-ass dude.
He is, and it's literally the guy. He's no stuntman. He fights Dolph Lundgren. That's it.
Yes.
So, yeah, no, that's a big no. Terrible acting. Big tick. Stallone equals big tick.
See previous.
And everybody else also big tick. I don't think nobody acts well in this at all, apart from Dolph Lundgren, who doesn't have to act, just has to stand there and say
he's got 5 lines in this film or something. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. He plays his part really well. Everybody else is awful, literally awful.
But you don't watch wife in this
Rocky
as well?
For acting, do you? What?
Wasn't Stallone's wife in this as well?
Yes, she was married. The woman who plays Drago's wife was actually married to Stallone in real life.
Yes, that's right. Bridget Nielsen. There we go.
Yeah.
I know come to eventually. It's all in there somewhere. You just got to get past the shiny.
This is another great American thing where all the Russians are not actually Russian. They're actually Scandinavian.
Of course, yes.
Dolph Lundgren being Swedish and Bridget Nielsen being Danish. Yes. Anyway, it's close enough.
Overuse of stunt doubles, then?
No, I don't actually think there was any stunt doubles at all, to be quite honest.
Judging by all the injuries both of them sustained whilst filming this film, no, there's no stunt doubles. No. They just got punched the snot out of each other in real life.
Cold War vibes. Well, yes, obviously. Yes. Duh.
Biggest Cold War vibes
it's
in the world ever.
America versus Russia twice.
During the Cold War.
Yes, and they literally wear star-spangled shorts and red shorts, red with yellow trim. It's like
flags are
living with America with. It's literally the most obvious Cold War thing that's ever Cold Warred. So, yes,
more than a Cold War.
Yeah, probably more. Yeah, big tick.
Cheesy one-liners.
Kind of. I mean, Dolph Lundgren comes out with 2.
Yes,
not cheesy, but they're
terrifying. They're quotable. That's not what you put down the list, though, Stephen, is it?
No,
quotable.
Not cheesy. The only cheesy one is when Rocky gets beat a bunch, and he says there's 3 of them, and they say hit the one in the middle.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Other than that, you've just got Dolph Lundgren saying if he dies, he dies, and I must break you. Which is I'd be scared.
Yeah, that's true. Does the hero, aka Rocky Balboa?
Yes, he does. He has some sort of invincibility / regeneration, infinite stamina, all of the above, because he gets beat to death by a giant Russian and still stands at the end of it.
Yes, it's quite impressive.
Especially because in the film it goes, most heavyweight boxers hit at 700 psi, and then Dolph Lundgren hits a thing and it goes to 1850. And I'm like, if Rocky's hitting at 700 and he's getting hit like more than twice as hard, and he went 12 rounds, Jesus!
Of course, yes, because back then it was 12 rounds, wasn't it?
So he must have some sort of padding where his brain doesn't rattle around in his head.
Yeah, perhaps he doesn't have a brain.
Either that or his brain can't reach the sides, so it just wafts.
Possibly. To avoid concussion.
Yeah, just jumbles the sawdust up in there. Anyway.
Yeah. Known actor. Just the one known actor?
Just the one, really. I mean, there's Stallone, who was obviously, this Rocky Force, obviously he's well known, and Rambo before this. This was Lundgren's first film. So,
yes, he's very young in this.
Dolph Lundgren was. And the guy who plays Apollo Creed, forgot his name, was in Predator once. And Apollo Creed, he played Apollo Creed in 2 other Rockies. So possibly, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't tell you his name, so therefore he's not that popular.
It's in there somewhere. It might come to me by the end of the video. I'll shout it out. But
So I'd say Stallone and nobody else, but I mean, it's the 4th Rocky, so anyone who's been in any of the previous Rockies, you kind of know who they are.
Yeah.
There's his wife, and there's Paulie, and there's the coach guy, and
is the robot in
Apollo Creed. Yes, there is a robot in this, and the world's most annoying son.
Yes, of course, yes, the son.
Anyway, this was released in 1986, so squarely in the middle.
You're hanging around that 86 mark, aren't you?
86 was a good year, man, apparently. It's directed by Stallone, which I've already said. It had a budget, $31 million in 1986.
I'm guessing 30 of that was for Stallone.
Probably. Can you ever guess how much it made?
Oh, Rocky 4. It didn't make as much as the first one. I'm going 104 million.
It was the most. It made the most out of all the Rockies.
Really?
300 million.
Holy flirkenschnitt. That's a lot
in 1986. Jeebus.
Blimey. It's impressive.
In the filming of this, if you may have heard this trivia, that in every Rocky film, someone gets punched for real.
Yes.
In the Creed 1, what's his name? Michael B. Jordan got knocked out by the actual boxer, Tony Bello.
Yes. KO'd him something rotten.
Because Stallone said he had to take a punch. Apparently, in this one, they needed Dolph Lundgren to punch Stallone in the chest, and Stallone said that if he stopped and did a fake punch, it wouldn't look so good. So just hit him as hard as you can in the chest. He'll take it. So Dolph Lundgren hit him as hard as he can in his chest. He didn't break any ribs. However, his heart bounced around his rib cage and swelled up, so he had to get taken to hospital and was put in hospital for 2 weeks because Dolph Lundgren punched him in the chest.
Yes, well, it is Dolph Lundgren, isn't it? I mean, he's massive. Even now, he's massive. But back then, he was
also the quality stat that I have for this film.
Yes,
you ready for this?
I'm waiting. I'm waiting.
This film is 31.9% montage. Now that's a great stat if I ever heard one.
It could even be the most 80th of 80s movies ever. Then.
Yes, 31.9% of this film is entirely montaged.
Perfect.
So yeah, I mean,
are you listening, Hollywood? That's it. That's the ratio you should be going for in all your films.
31.9% of it is montage, and it made 300 million.
See, no one wants to hear people talking. Punch
That's
someone
like
in the face and
100
run around
million
in the snow.
$100 million worth of montage.
That's an expensive montage.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, it's as cheesy as. It's not as cheesy as Commando, but it's not as good as Die Hard, and mostly due to the large amount of montage, to be quite honest.
To be fair, I would argue with you that it's the best Rocky film. I prefer Rocky 1 because it's a more realistic story. However, as far as 80s action films go, yeah, it's definitely the best Rocky film.
I mean, I just like it because Dolph Lundgren's a boss in it.
Yeah, he's like terrifying.
I mean, for like 95% of the movie, I'm rooting for Dolph Lundgren.
Yeah, we all are. I think that's the trouble.
Because
that's why
Apollo Creed is so up his own arse.
Yeah, I remember dancing around with.
He comes out and starts dancing with James
Brown, yeah.
Yeah, and singing and shit. I just want him to get his ass handed to him, which he does.
Yeah, he does.
Brutally.
Yes, he does.
So, that'll learn him. Well, probably not because he's dead, but
no.
It would have learned him.
Yes. Carl Withers.
There we go. Hey.
Yes! I told you it's in there. Carl Withers. No shouting at me, comment section.
There's I mean, it's at the most Cold War 80s film that apart from maybe Rambo 3? Is that the one when they're in Afghanistan?
Yes, I think it is. I'm trying to think of what Rambo 2 was in.
That's First Blood Part 2, right?
First Blood Part 2 is Rambo 2, yeah. So it's
3 is Rambo 3 is Afghanistan.
He's fighting the Russians in Afghanistan.
Yes. So, I mean, it's up there. Stallone really likes his on-the-nose Cold War stuff.
Well, it was America during the 80s. It was still Cold War, wasn't it?
So, yeah, I mean, I'd say this one is a solid 4 out of 5 face punches.
Oh, we're going for another 4.
Yeah, because, it's literally face punching the entire film.
Yes. Apart from the montage.
Yeah, I mean, well, he's just like running in the snow and falling over and shit.
Yeah.
I think it's really weird how, Dolph Lundgren's got all this fancy training stuff, even though he's a Russian.
Well, yeah, the Russians had that.
Yeah, and Rocky, being America and full of money and that, trains in the snow in a barn. I mean, you don't have to go to Russia to train.
But it helps.
To fight in Russia. You could train in America and then fly to Russia and then fight.
Yeah, that's true.
But it wouldn't be as montagey.
You wouldn't have a 30% of a film with a montage then, would you?
No, it looked pretty. I mean, it was shot in like Wyoming or somewhere, so in the
it'd be snowy then.
So it was snowy and pretty in that. So it meant to be Siberia or some shit, wasn't it? So
fair enough.
Go then. Your last one.
My last one.
Mm-hmm.
Is the first ever action film I watched as a child.
Wow.
This is why I've saved it till last. It is the entertaining buddy cop film, Lethal Weapon.
Oh, yes. I mean, you could have gone for a couple of buddy cop films for the 80s, really.
Yeah, but this is the one, isn't it?
I mean, it's the best one, granted.
It's obviously, but I mean,
for a minute there, I thought you were going to say 48 Hours or...
No, see.
What's that one with...
Another 48 Hours. Yes. That one. I just got Carl Withers. I can't get another one. Jesus. The file request has been sent backwards. It will say
Tango and Cash?
Tango, was that 80s?
Yeah, I bet it was. I bet you it was.
I'm putting down on the bottom of the screen here what it was.
Terran Hooch?
That's not a buddy cop film.
It is.
It's not even an action film, it's a comedy film.
Yeah, but one of the cops is a dog, that's all. Anyway, carry on. Lethal Weapon.
You made me lose my plot now. I'm looking at the right page of me notes or anything.
Synth music, yes,
synth music. Synth music. Synth music and rock guitar.
Ooh.
By a certain musician, some people may know. Eric Clapton wrote the music for Lethal Weapon.
Wow, I did not know that. Well, good trivia.
There you go. You see, bit of a trivia for you.
Number 2, hero
Number
has
2.
a stupid name.
No, not at all. Martin Riggs.
I mean, Riggs is a bit stupid, but not too stupid.
Yeah, but it's no more stupid than Brown.
Right, he's a little bit more stupid than Brown.
Smith.
It just sounds a bit
Humperdinck.
weirder.
If it was Martin Humperdinck, then it would be a bit
Yeah,
weirder.
granted, his name is not Rocky Matrix, so, I'll let you off with this one.
Awesome 80s name.
Max Power. Anyway,
Max Power.
hero is American, even though he isn't.
Yeah, that might be the case here. Yes, he's American. He was technically born in America, I believe, Mel Gibson, but lived all his life in Australia. So he's an Australian citizen, I believe. So
he's an American, but he isn't.
yes,
So
correct.
tick for that one.
Yes,
Hero
definitely
fights
80s
off
tick.
hundreds of stuntsmen.
Not really hundreds, no. There's not that much in it. There's lots of one-on-one combat and things like that, and car chases and shooters and stuff. Not wave after wave of men, though.
No, so no.
So
Fair enough.
that's a big no. No.
Terrible acting.
Actually, no. It wasn't bad. The acting, there's no bad acting in it.
Fair enough.
I mean, to be fair, the bad guy is Gary Busey. So, I don't. He doesn't.
I
Really
mean, anything
act.
he's ever done has been on the border of terrible or genius. I'm not sure.
I mean, I don't think he actually acts. He's just himself in front of camera, the same as he's off camera. So
Yes. Overuse of obvious stunt doubles for the lead performers.
yeah, there's a few times that they does pop up the jumpy off the building thing and things like that. It's pretty obvious.
You have to have a proper perm on to be.
Oh yeah, 80s Mel Gibson.
To be Mel Gibson a stunt double, don't you? Jesus.
Yeah, but yeah, lots of these fairly obvious. You can see them.
Cold War vibes.
Again, we're going back. It's Vietnam. It's based on a special force team from Vietnam running drugs in America. And he was in Vietnam soldier. So Vietnam.
So yes, by proxy again. Then
Again, no.
Vietnam was Cold War, isn't it? It's the beginning of
The beginning
the whole
of it, yeah, but it was hot.
fighting communism, wasn't it?
Yes, but there was shooting, so it's not cold, is it? It's a hot war.
Yeah.
And it was very
Proxy.
swampassy as well.
Cheesy one-liners.
Cheesy one line. No, not ready. No.
Oh, I can't think of anything really quotable from that.
Exactly.
Film, to be fair.
Can you correct
Oh, I'm
anything?
too old for this shit.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. That's about the only one line
Yeah.
in the film.
Heroes have low-key superpowers.
Yes, apparently he has like Thundercat's vision, so he can shoot 10 billion miles away and not miss. That's it.
That was a Thundercat, was it?
Apparently.
Okay.
Incoming
Fair enough.
Thundercat.
One known actor and the rest are randoms.
Yes. No.
I mean, no. What's his name? Danny Glover.
Danny Glover and Mel Gibson are both well known, aren't
And Gary Busey.
they? Was he known back then?
I don't know. I mean, the first time I remember seeing him is either that or Under Siege. So
Oh, yeah, he was in that one too, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he was the XO in that one too.
yes, dressing up and dragging that.
Yeah. Again, I'm not entirely sure whether he acts or not. I don't know.
No, so I'd say no because there's at least two.
Yeah, I mean, Danny Glover was pretty popular back then as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, I mean,
Was
Predator
it
2.
Was Predator 2 before or after this?
It was in the 80s still, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, he's old in this, so I imagine he's been in some before.
Yeah, but he plays older than this. But yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah, yeah. So no.
Yeah,
Yeah, but no. But
yeah, but no. But Ockley, super trivia time.
super trivia time. It is 1987. This film was produced.
Ooh.
So
Just
a bit of a
after
later one.
86, then.
Yeah. So I was just
Solid
avoiding
4 years old. When
your super your super year.
Yeah.
Directed by Richard Donner, who some people may remember directed a small film
Kebab.
called Kebab.
No?
No, not Donner Kebab. He directed Superman.
Oh, yes, that small indie film.
Yeah, that's a small independent film. I mean, the bad guy in this is Gary freaking Busey, so I mean, you can't beat him, can you? Budget on this film, 15 million in 1987.
I mean,
imagine
that seems to be about lower than average. I mean, Commando was that, wasn't it? And the other two of mine were what, around 30 million? Yours was 25-ish?
Exactly, yeah.
So I'd
Yeah,
say
25.
I mean, I suppose because it's more of a buddy cop rather than balls to the wall action. There's less explosions and stuff you got to pay for.
Yeah, but there's a lot more cocaine, I think, on this. Like, it's Gary Busey, I think, would.
And you don't have to pay what's his face, Bruce Willis, $5 million. So
well, exactly. Well. Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, made in the box office 120 million.
That's not a bad, not a bad receipt. That is it. To be fair,
no, it's not bad at all. Written by Shane Black, who wrote a little thing
lots of stuff.
Lots and lots of things, but probably mainly Predator.
Yeah.
So, yes, he wrote no end of 80s films and books that turned into films.
Did he do The Shield as well? The TV show?
Yes, I believe he did also co-write The Shield. So there you go.
Random thing that happened in my brain there. Carry on.
Well done. I can't Carl Weathers, but no, you go for The Shield. It's fine. This one has to be 5 out of 5. I'm sorry. It's Lethal Weapon.
I mean, it's the buddy cop film.
Exactly. It's troped. I mean, they even made parody films of it called Loaded Weapon films. Remember Loaded Weapon?
Yes, they were good.
Yes, they were quite amusing and very.
It's not like Naked Gun good, but yeah.
No, I think they have William Shatner in as the bad guy in Loaded Weapon 1. There's some random knowledge for you.
Oh, so that's that then, I suppose. Have you got any honourable mentions?
No.
Oh, great. Honourable mentions.
Okay.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, I mean it's the 80s action genre. I mean just open up IMDb and see the pages upon pages of 80s action films there are.
Yeah,
not including the sci-fi action and the comedy action and the horror action and things like that as well. I mean, the Thing technically is an action film.
That's a horror film more than an action film.
There's a lot of action in it.
Yeah, but it's killing a horror thing. That scared the shit out of me when I was little. Jeeves.
It should have everyone. It was supposed to.
Yeah, those. Anyway, that's a thing for another time, I would imagine.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So, that's your top 6.
That's
80s action films that you should go and watch. So
yeah, definitely. I mean, feel free to argue with us, of course.
Yes.
That's what the internet is invented for, by people like us to argue with people like us.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when these came out, we were tiny little babbies. So we only probably saw these in the 90s.
Yeah, I mean, everyone watched it on reruns and things like that. So you saw the TV edits first, and then you actually went out and got the film.
Yes, where
on VHS.
People gets cut out. Apparently, in Commando, Arnie kills a dude on a plane.
Yes, he does.
Yeah,
and then says,
elbows him in the face.
My friend.
Yeah.
He's over to say, my friend is dead tied.
Yes. He elbows him in the face and then snaps his neck.
Yes.
Apparently, in TV edits, you're not allowed to show him snapping the neck, so he elbows him in the face, and that's it. That insta-kills him.
I was playing some games like that. Good old insta-kill. There you go.
Yes, and I bet you in Die Hard, instead of saying yippee-ki-yay, mother trucker.
Thank you.
They say something else, I would imagine.
Yippee-ki mip.
I bet. Oh, I know what it is. When he says the trucker part, it's covered in gunfire.
Yeah, that sounds like a TV thing to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just cut. Yippee-ki-yay, mother cut.
Hubbard. It's a random other guy saying Hubbard, and then carries on.
What was the film when they did that as a voiceover? I can't remember. It's literally just completely tone and everything just came over with a random word. Yes,
there's got a guy who's meant to be a sound alike but sounds nothing like the actor to say other random words instead.
That's exactly it. Just picked some guy off the
and they did that about twice and then they realised it's stupid.
Yeah. I mean, action films, Running Man, would you class that as an action film?
Yes, I mean, that nearly made my list. But
is it sci-fi?
Again, I was warded off by the sci-fi-ness of it.
I mean, is it really sci-fi?
Yes.
I think scientifically advanced it is like neck exploding stuff, and you can do that these days.
I think it was set in like 2017 or something. You know what I mean? So technically, it's not
set
like
in the past.
I know. Was it when I was looking at watching Escape from New York? It was 2020, I think. Escape from New York setting.
It's around that time, yeah. And I want my weird hover things.
It's just
The helicopters without rotor blades and things. That's what I want them.
It's just, I mean, yeah. I was going to say it gets an honourable mention, but it really doesn't because it's shit.
What do you think about? I mean, okay, now we're pushing the 90s, but Escape from LA, is that a shit as well?
Yeah.
Can you remember that film?
Yeah.
Yeah. How the graphics do? It's set. It's in the 90s, set in the future, but the electronics are actually 80s based.
Yeah. I mean, everything of this era when they go, let's look at the screen. It's black and green. There's no in between of this. It's black and green, unless you have one polygon per building.
I mean, that's the retro look you're going for. Then all
of the control panels have giant knobs and flashing, blinking lights and stuff like Star Trek.
They should have that now. Mobile phones would be so much easier to work with giant flashing buttons.
And they've all got dot matrix printers at best.
Not
or teletype things. And anyway, yeah, I watched that for this because I remembered it being good.
How old were you when you watched it?
Quite young.
Last time.
And then when I went on the internet. After I picked my 3. I went best 80s action films, and this Escape from New York appeared like number 2 in a bunch of lists, and I was like, really? Was it that good? No, it's not. No.
Again, it's these things, but with a tint to them. I think.
Nothing happens for the first 20 minutes. Nothing much happens for it action wise. He hits a few people. And they fall over. He shoots at a bunch of people with his Mac 10 with a giant silencer and a scope on it for no apparent reason.
Because everyone needs a scope on a Mac 10. Because they're that accurate, that deadly accurate. You can snipe people with them. It was the 80s. Yeah. They just stuck shit on things. It
looked cool, but literally the worst gun possible to do anything ever. So he's meant to be old.
Suppressing fire.
Yeah, for 30 rounds.
Yeah, just wave around your head for 2 seconds and then run away. There you go.
But yeah, I mean, it was pretty terrible, that film.
Yeah.
I mean, I watched it. I went through a couple and it's just, nah.
Well, here's a tip for you, Stephen. This weekend, treat yourself to watch Big Trouble in Little China, because you will not be disappointed by that. It has aged very well. It's just as you remembered it. It's pretty cheesy, but it's a good way to spend an hour and a half.
I may well do, unless you say the next podcast is going to be something completely different. I'll have to watch those instead.
The next podcast is going to be something completely different, but it's nothing to do with film, so you're all right.
Good. Right. Anyway, we should probably call time on this because we've been rambling for a good amount of time.
I was running on a bit longer than I expected to, as usual, but there you go.
Go editing, go.
Yeah, I'll add it to the list of things to edit. I suppose we should sign off, really.
Yes.
Thanks for watching this episode of the 2HR podcast. I was again like to thank the Ginger Whinger for doing all the research and screwing up all my scripts that I'd already written.
You're welcome.
And I hope again he'll come and join me back on the next episode. Don't forget to leave us a comment below if you agree with our choices, if you disagree with our choices, if you have strong feelings either way. Leave us a comment, let us know.
Yes, please do.
Don't forget to smash that like button as well for us, help it grow on the video a bit. And if you want to, feel free to subscribe to the channel. Yeah. You can also check out our social media as well if you wanted to. I'll put that here or here.
Somewhere on the screen.
There. I always like doing this because then it gives me all the options in the entire screen to put it somewhere. There. It will be here somewhere.
It will be on the screen.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But thanks again for joining us, and we hope to see you next week. So it's goodbye from him.
Bye.
And it's goodbye from me. Bye. Toodles.
Bye.